ASL Prime League. First game of the night, and up here in the beautiful yellow, we have one of our three Protoss players. He is, I don't know which one's his real name, but I'm going to go with this one. He is Spellsinger.
And Spellsinger's opponent, bottom left-hand corner, the purple Protoss player, one of the three tonight from Flipside Tactics. It is puCK, playing under the lovely Solus. He's always got really just nice-sounding Smurfs. It's not stupid or profane Smurfs. It's just like that. That sounds like he could actually be just its own unique personality.
I liked Iron Man the best.
Iron Man, yeah. If you got a Team Liquid for puCK, or Liquipedia, he's got so many years. Oh, he also goes under this thing.
Yeah. A lot of people. He's a lot of people.
Yeah, he is definitely a lot of people.
So the scouting here coming in for puCK/Solus sees two gases. That could be a ton of stuff. It's really hard to. We mentioned this the other night as well. It's hard to scout like properly and like really know what you're seeing because there's so many options. Obviously, early in the game, in Legacy of the Void, and it's hard to get those real patterns down and detected.
Yeah, it is definitely really hard to kind of get those patterns down. The first pattern, or at least thing that's going on, at least noticeably, puCK going for the Gate Cyber Nexus, while his opponent, Spellsinger, going for 2 Gate before that Cyber, which I was actually telling Endersword a little bit about my having fun with 2 Gates. But Spellsinger opened with 2 gas, which is kind of unique because you can do an adapt 1 gas, which is why it's hard to scout, because previously in Heart of the Swarm, you'd be like, okay, 1 gas, cool, I can do this, but that is not what he is doing, just being very safe and careful, not even putting his gas into Gateway. He's actually, this is puCK, sorry, this is Spellsinger. He's actually going to be putting it into Stargate.
Interesting choice indeed. We get a probe for puCK going way off to the side. Don't know whether he's looking for proxies or looking to proxy. We'll know in a while, or if he's just over there, because
there's some times where we're like, okay, probe, I need you later. Just hide somewhere. Just hide somewhere. puCK, though, has been known to like his proxy Stargates, yet I feel like it's just a little bit too late, unless it's kind of the thing of, well, you didn't expect it late, DT. Yeah, I don't know. Guessing it's just going to hang out up there. For now, though, puCK's first Adept will be moving in. Will be met by Spellsinger, and Spellsinger should be able to at least push it off. Yep, puCK may get a nice scout. Yep, there's the Shades.
Shade chasing Shade will come in just for the scout there. Cancels it off, of course.
Spellsinger, though, pulls back and is actually, I think he's going to have a little bit better of an economy than his opponent. We'll see. He did open a lot more safe, and now we'll see if he can even it up or have a better economy through the damage. That probe won't see anything. It's quite far off, but Spellsinger going in to do some damage, and opening up with the Adept, it is a little bit risky because, yes, in PvZ you can hold a lot of Zerg stuff, PvT you can hold the same. But on the drops, you don't have anti-air. You have to rely on the photon overcharges, which recently, like a day or two ago, was nerfed from 21 seconds to 11 seconds.
The Oracle comes in here in the back. He is just out of range of that photon overcharge. This is one really big change in that type of defense. The Oracle can pick off parts of the mineral line if you don't have more than 1 pylon. So it's different than the old one where a single overcharge would just save you. Here you got to be a little more strategic with it.
You do have to be more strategic, and it's also, you can't even think of it as a cannon or a photon cannon because it obviously it just doesn't quite reach everything. Those assimilators will be at jeopardy for a while. The mothership core, thankfully though, will have enough energy for some more photon overcharges, and the reason, these stalkers may be able to kill it actually. The reason I didn't like the 21 seconds before on the mothership core is because it was a 25 energy spell. Ergo, you could almost just keep it up forever with a little bit of time in between.
Yeah, essentially. Plus, given that you can cast it on multiple targets, um, that makes it a fair bit stronger than it was. While more bursty, obviously, if you cast it on 5 pylons or something, then it gets a little out of control.
Yeah. For now, Spellsinger only got 2 kills with that attack. Yet on the other hand, he forced out a decent amount of stalkers from puCK. puCK is going blink. We'll see how they go up against the adepts, though. It's got to be really good blinks to actually be able to go 1-for-1 with adepts. And as Ender mentions, they don't seem like video game characters. If you're really strong, you have to have low health. If you're the strong boss, you got to be stupid. You just you throw your club, and then you got to go pick it up while you keep attacking it in whatever game. But that's just not quite how they work. We'll see how the Stalker Force of Blink matches up with Adepts.
It's true. You could say that they're adept at everything.
Oh, maybe that's why the name is that.
Maybe that is it.
That would just work really well. Like, Blizzard just names it OP in Korean, and the Korean players oh, yeah, we get this. And all the American players this is a unique name. Wow. We do see the probe that was in the top left for puCK start up a pylon and a gate.
Yeah, for the warp in, yeah. I like that. I had a feeling that people would start doing that. Coming in here now, trying to target down those immortals, but of course, with those shields, not only did they take little damage, they take no damage unless you break all the way through it.
Yeah, even though it's for 2 seconds, you almost have a little bit of an anti-assassination shield around it. You almost always would see when in PvZ, whatever, the Zerg player with roaches or the Protoss player with stalkers dive in and try to kill something.
Yeah.
But it's not actually attainable anymore, and it's a nice little move. At first, I really hated that it by default was auto casted. Yet then I had a little idea about it. Albeit one Zergling can trip it off. It's a cool idea.
I think it makes sense. There were too many Protoss things that you had to just turn on at the start of a fight. You have to turn on your Guardian Shield, you have to turn on your Force Fields, turn on your Void Rays, turn on your Immortals. It was just a few too many things that you had to do right up front. Blink in here to the main, we'll be able to pick off this Robo and immediately take out that pylon, the blink back down. Pretty good, pretty good. Even that Observer actually gets away, despite their one being their one for Spellchansky.
We'll see how aggressive puCK is going to be here. He did get that robotics facility, but not the base, so there's still a possibility once it comes down to mass-produce some Colossi. We'll see how it goes up in PvP for Legacy of the Void. Heart of the Swarm. Majority of you have bigger Colossi count on the ground, you win. Yep. If that isn't always the case, as I've said, there's that Oracle still going around trying to kill stuff. It's still alive. As I've said, puCK always trying to get the most investment, always trying to completely get his investment from Stalkers and get as much damage as he can done. Very aggressive player, but sometimes get him in a little sticky situation.
Coming in here again for the push. I'm not sure the comparative speeds. It would be neat to see him turn the Ghost on before moving into the Stalkers and move them back behind a point where they would blink to. Basically, he could force a fight, I think.
But by the way, in the natural base...
recall, back there.
Yep, there was the recall back Spellsinger had to do to defend this Warp Prism. puCK always doing a lot of damage, trying to get something, may even kill the cannon, only 7 health. Yet on the other side of the map, right here, we have so many DTs. How many DTs actually are on the map? 6. Yeah. Easily, they could take out one of these bases, but it's still... Does puCK notice them? The Spellsinger's DTs, they need to wait as long as they can to be able to get that nice angle and just snipe something huge. But cannon is gone, forcing photon overcharges will be enough, but that is a lot of energy, and the Mothership Core is not with the main army. This has kind of deterred Spellsinger's move out. Yeah,
DTs come in here now. Now, the Disruptor can actually do the Cloaked or not, but he'll back that up. No, the blast not quite landing. Main forces are engaging here. The Immortals doing a lot of work, as are the Adepts. The entire force of puCK there basically killed off as he's trying to deal with the DTs back at home.
little bit sad for puCK, not a single blink, because back at home, without a robo, or without the lack of a observer, or without the lack, with the lack of an observer trying to kill the DTs with a disruptor, takes a lot of micro, and now we'll see Spellsinger wiped out the entire Stalker force. puCK has got to be kicking himself right now for that, but there's the force fight, as you're mentioning, Ender.
Yeah, can't retreat from that, leaving the rest of his stuff down there now. He may have done that to a position where he's going to lose all these, and does, but it's buying him time to finish off this base and then the disruptor to zone out the rest of the army.
At least they killed the third base.
Yeah.
Sorry, the fourth base.
Base,
the fourth base. It's always awkward on Orbital Shipyard.
Yeah,
just to say that Oracle is still alive. Actually, I think it's a different Oracle. It's still, Spellsinger's got an Oracle out on the map, and now he's got a really nice composition. The great units in Legacy of the Void. See how that goes out. DTs of puCK going towards Spellsinger's fourth base here, trying to snipe it for his own, evening up the score. We'll see how this kind of ends up.
Yeah, puCK trying to get his own DTs in, just starting a fight on the top left-hand side of it. So I think that's why he's confused at the pause timing.
It was so perfect. He was like, For now, though, no observer is on the way. The Oracle could come back and do something, but DTs don't go so well versus Zealots. We'll see how that ends up, because Spellsinger is going to try to end the game here. He may have lag, and so maybe an issue of I need to go for it. We'll see if he can.
Yeah, Disruptor, nice big blast on basically everything here. It's hard to tell who's winning. It looks like puCK is overrunning here. The Colossus, though, I think has been picked up. But that fourth base is down on its spell side of the map.
Yeah, at the same time that entire battle was going down, the DTs got their job done, and now both players have taken big losses from each other. Neither of them with a big economically in any way, but puCK was able to secure his kind of sneaky base on the left-hand side of the map.
The DTs hiding in that warp prism there, which is not currently moving. We got 3 oracles over on the right side. They may just try and overwhelm a base with their awesome little rays. Okay, he's putting down the fields.
I like this from puCK, even though the Stargate of his was a little bit delayed. The stasis wards are such a utility in the mid to late game, even in the early game, just a little bit like Phoenix's or reminiscent of them, just being able to shut down parts of the army and not worry about it. For now, though, I mean, Spellsinger, he's got 3, or only 2 actually now, robotics facility production off disruptors. It's so hard to push into this. It's kind of hard to say who's down, though. I mean, this is really a scary situation. Both players have lost their bases. They know that, but it's still, do I need to make something happen now, or can I wait?
Yeah, it is strange. It's probably a lot harder to know whether you're ahead or not in this. And given that the army compositions are quite different for both players, often you just don't know how fights go now. Disruptor blast coming in, got to get hit.
Interestingly enough, I just saw right there the actual stasis ward, 1 stalker trip, 2 stasis wards, which is kind of sucky, but we'll still see how that ends up. puCK has perfectly planned this engagement. We'll see how it goes down, and beautiful stasis wards on the disruptor. Actually got 1 disruptor back behind the army, but can't kill it. puCK, he's going for the blood. He wants to win here, but he's being very careful.
Yep, trying to maneuver, figure out what the best course of attack is, but it's hard to attack not only into the Colossus, but obviously into the disruptors themselves. They can just blast down to control the ramp. The 4th base for Spellchansky is being rebuilt. A 4th is already up and running for puCK.
For Spellsinger's defense, or Spellchansky, I'd love for him to get extended thermal lance. Even though Colossi aren't quite as good in Legacy of the Void, that still puts them to range 9, which does outrange Stalkers, outranges Archons, outranges this entire army. So that would allow Spellsinger to kind of push back puCK from his base, or at least allow him a little bit of breathing room. But I mean, puCK, as you can see, he's utilizing everything perfectly in Legacy of the Void that you can with Protoss, and just making a very nice contained insane. Thankfully, both players are somewhat even economically. With Spellsinger, he's got to be really careful when he moves out, especially, as I was mentioning, without an ETL.
Yeah, very true. The little charge forward. Army taking the low ground here can be risky for Spellchansky. His major advantage is having the high ground, so he could just disrupt her down. Blast coming off, almost taking out 2 Colossus, which are very weak. And it looks like, yeah, Spell is going to be overwhelmed here as he walked into this huge concave. And now without the disruptors, puCK will get up onto the high ground. 3 disruptors trying to back up until they can get their blasts off, but retreating back pretty far. Mothership Core will go down.
Very nice time work that will buy Spellsinger a little bit of time. And one thing to note, puCK at the moment is at 2-0. While Spellsinger, he's at 3-1-1. So he is trying to favor that Adept, or at least that Adept composition, maybe some Archons, but he just does not have that. His composition is not quite what he needs here. Let's see if the destruction shots are good for Spellsinger. One is good. He will be able to snipe an Archon, but the Archons on the left-hand side are just ransacking that base. Hopefully they will be able to kill it, at least for puCK and Spellsinger. He is holding, but there's another army being warped in on the right-hand side, and still just he lost his entire army that he really needed to save up in those really key tech units.
Yeah, now over here we've got 4 disruptors just kind of trying to evade 1 Zealot, while an Archon finishes them off. Colossus walking right into a stasis ward, leaving just the 1 there, which does fall.
It's kind of a funny situation, because, GG's. puCK takes game 1, but...
Down here on the bottom right-hand corner with a 1-0 lead at the moment, it is from Flipside puCK.
And his opponent in the top left-hand corner, representing Russia, it is the yellow Protoss player, Spellsinger. Or Spellchansky, for which I asked him if Chansky or something like that, if it meant singer in Russian. And he's like, nope. It's just a thing I add onto the end of my name, so I don't know what happened when he was naming himself some kind of wonky things.
It does sound more Russian.
Yeah, well, I was wondering if it was just singer in Russian, but he's like, no, it's not singer, it's not singer, it's just something I threw on the end. I was like, okay, man, well, whatever you say. puCK will be switching it up. Instead of game 1 going Gateway Cyber Nexus, he will be doing 2, just a quick 2-gate. This could be that Adept pressure I was talking to you about, especially dangerous on Terraform.
Yeah, I could see that causing a bit of trouble here. And puCK is building to not block, puCK is building to block the ramp off. His opponent is not. And yeah, people are going to have to definitely think about their sim cities around Adepts on where you want to put kind of barriers and whatever to try and hold the ghost stuff.
Not only Adepts, but obviously in general, just photon overcharge. You want that forward point. You don't even want to allow the Protoss to get into your base. You want the forward point to kind of push them off.
Yeah.
Although Spellsinger will get into the base, Mothership Core nothing out yet, Cyber only finishing now, and pretty much Spellsinger, he gets a nice scout, and this is beautiful. He's like, okay, you're going for the aggression, and it will be double Stalker out of puCK. Yet Spellsinger does not know that. It is still pretty scary. Stalker's a little bit more useful into the mid-game. Adepts albeit too, but if you really get on the micro, Stalkers can pay themselves off and can really be a good investment.
We get this probe hanging out on the left-hand side. Mothership Core making its way across, as are the Stalkers. And Spell's probe is up there on the top right, so won't get to see this coming across.
Gateway is not going to be done for Spellsinger to defend, but one thing I did see recently, I'm sure most of you have seen on Reddit, that pylon, if it's next to a Nexus, does count as a 2-second warp-in, which is really cool. Spellsinger may utilize this. We'll have to see if that goes down, though, and puCK already getting a very nice angle. There is 2 adepts for Spellsinger, which could just negate this entire thing. Because
Yeah.
they're adepts. Period.
Is he just going to recall out, or I'm not sure. He went in pretty damn far there. Yeah.
He did get in pretty far, and just think of what would normally have happened in that situation without the adepts. You'd have only had 1 stalker there with the 1 gate opening from Spellsinger. So with some micro, it would have been almost even. In puCK, I've seen him do crazy things with micro. For now, though, Spellsinger, he's going to be up slightly in the economy by about a minute and a half.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, and we have Robo and Forge coming down here on puCK's side. You had mentioned the upgrade imbalance a bit in the previous game, and I've noticed a lot of that in Legacy of the Void in general. There's so much that you can do and can tech to and want to get to quickly that often the upgrades are not as in sync anywhere near as much as they were in Heart of the Swarm. So you can get some pretty big disparity there.
Can be really big disparity there, and at least for now, what we do normally see out of the Forge is what puCK is doing, getting that early +1 attack, and I've normally seen that with adept pushes. We'll see if puCK mixes in more adepts. Nevertheless, it's still a good upgrade to get, and it's kind of funny. I'm really curious to see the average upgrades, because I've been in games where it'll be like the 20-minute mark, and I'll watch the replay, and neither of us had 1-1 upgrades. Yeah. We were fighting with Blink, Adept Shields, and Adept Shields a little bit reminiscent of Combat Shields, just as in they can kind of be a replacement for that armor, or for that armor upgrade.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you usually would have seen +1 armor going up against like in a PvT, but you're very typically seeing that the attack is first and then the armor, or then the shield upgrade, because the adept is just better off being a better attacker.
puCK will hallucinate this Phoenix, and I'd rather have him hallucinate an Oracle just to maybe pull the army into the main, because we do have a Warp Prism heading into the natural. Sadly, it's going to be greeted by a very happy Photon Cannon. Did its job, hopefully. There's still a lot of little areas you can get into the main on Terraform.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a Zone Phoenix for a second. I was like, what?
How do you even do that?
It's all mind games here. Now, though, I mean, we're seeing I don't even know if I want to say greed of Spellsinger, but Spellsinger taking the initiative. He did have a third base on the way that Adept of puCK would cancel it. Yet, still, you always have those games where we would have seen a slightly quicker Nexus for Spellsinger, and instead, he actually goes up, throws it down, but he's going to go for the aggression.
Hallucinating Phoenix finally stopping. And, yeah, this is such a weird little army mix here for Spellsinger. Immortal Adept with 1 sentry in there for good measure.
I'd say it's actually I don't know if I want to say common.
Yeah,
but still in the meta, people are trying it out.
People are doing it. Yeah,
it's Zealot. It's what you'd see of Zealot Immortal or a Zealot. Yeah, it's more of a PvZ composition. It still works pretty darn well though. Adepts just tank everything. There's the disruptor shot. It's going to be just a little bit too far away. Not a single point of damage taken on any of those adepts. Spellsinger will be pulled back to defend though, which is nice for puCK. puCK back at home, really, he does not have any Robo in his composition. He's getting out disruptors now, but it's just a couple Zealot Stalkers and just the necessities to survive.
Yeah, puCK does seem to still be enjoying making the Zealots there, whereas you definitely see a lot of Protoss basically abandoning them, treating them as if they aren't even in this anymore, and for a large part they're not. But
Charge is really good though.
Charge is still good, but it's nerfed on the initial contact. It's still good once they're actually in your face like that, but you can see why people would move away.
I feel like it's sometimes just why make zealots when you can have adepts, though.
Yeah,
It's
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
you need a sentry for your guardian shield. You need some stalkers for the anti-air, and then what is your anti-ground composition? It's adepts, and here is the disruptor drops coming out of puCK, and actually
Nice
gets a
shot.
beautiful shot off. Now, after the first attack is actually when the shields of the immortals are go down. So you can potentially kind of snipe it if you got a full 360 surround and one shot off.
Yeah.
Right there, though, that's why the damage went down. Disruptor was that first attack. Mortal survived, though. Half health.
The warp prism being seen by the observer. This one will take out one immortal.
Will manage to take out one immortal. Still, though, puCK, we've seen really crazy things out of him in Legacy of the Void. If anyone watches him, he's been trying Colossi drops, he's been trying Disruptor drops. Any sort of drop you can do, he's been trying it. Even the 2v2 Widowmine drop, and there is a beautiful Disruptor snipe.
Yeah,
Disruptor
versus Disruptor violence.
Even though that, like, the first couple Disruptors shots he did only did damage to bring the Immortals down half, that's still, if it's a 100% same army composition as bashing against each other, which we don't see in Legacy of the Void that much, but more in Heart of the Swarm, still, that is such a little lead. You have, what, like 25% more health overall? Maybe a little bit less than that. Still, though, I like everything that puCK is doing. He's very aggressive, he's out on the map, and he's got proxy pylons in the bottom left that he's starting to get up, and just really, he's setting himself up for a really nice late game, which I think is at this stage of the game.
The Disruptor blast whiffing. I think he was actually hoping there that the Zealots would bait a lot of the army down the ramp and he could Disruptor up into them, but not taking the bait.
Protoss players now having to kind of do the same thing, Zergs, with Banelings. Maybe trying to get the Baneling mindset in your head. But for now, I mean, Spellsinger taking a fourth base. puCK's fourth base is actually done now. And I just like to point out that it is the gold base, as you guys can see. He has been very aggressive. He knows how to keep his opponent on their side of the map, and that just helps him so much. Not only that, but just also to say, I love Disruptor drops more than Storm drops, or I love Disruptors just because of the idea that it's no energy. It's,
another Disruptor.
Actually, they killed one of the Disruptors. Beautiful. And it would have killed both of them, I think, if they hadn't done that. But like I was saying, I love the Disruptor drops purely because there's no energy involved in it. Because you could go for High Templar drops, but it'd kind of be like, well, now if I pull back, I won't really have my Storms. Do I really want to invest this? And he maybe loses nothing and just has like 1 health probes. Even to get the Stalker, this is what I'm talking about, and this is really what leads to, you say, okay, it was just 1 Stalker, but that is what makes the difference between Masters, GM, or GM and Pro level, because you did have 1 more Stalker, because earlier on, he sniped 1 Stalker.
And it really is, like, your point of the energy is really good, too, because it's a way to reward the multitasking in a way that the energy didn't. Like, these Disruptors are going to reset themselves on a set amount of time. So anytime you're not using them to at least try and damage something is just wasted time. So all of a sudden there's something that just permanently you should be using. And it's the same really with the depths, like the Shades. You should permanently, if you had unlimited APM, you would be permanently scouting with the Ghost. Literally.
That is a fantastic point, and you see that in the early game, then players start to forget. But I still think that's definitely something we'd see from the high-level Korean Protosses. For now, they're not so much. Stalkers of Spellsinger, they've been looking to do some damage, but the army of puCK is so good. Not only that, but he's got a mothership on the way, +1 air weapons and Tempests. He's going into an army that just, you can't actually touch it or engage it unless you're mirroring it. Spellsinger, though, kind of understands that and is trying to do damage anywhere he can. He has this blink attack and a drop going into the main.
Yeah, there are a couple cannons in the main. We'll see what this can get done. This is chargelets on his end, so we'll take those out fairly quickly, but the DTs are going to make short work of that.
Both players do have DT shrines at this
Yeah.
point, really allowing them to get into the annoying late game shenanigans. Right here, puCK, I like this. He is pulling back. He's being not want to overextend, especially when his army is in a parade that could potentially go into, as you see, Spellsinger's meat grinder. For now, though, I mean, puCK, he's just waiting for a mothership and 2 Tempests. He's got 2 more Tempests on the way, +1. The Colossi, it's just you're too thinking of the Heart of the Swarm mindset. You don't want those Colossi. Maybe in PvZ late game, in PvT late game, I like it, but in PvP, just that's a no-go. I love this one, Archon. It started with 2 blocks back, and it's slowly been killing buildings until it can get out, but it literally has had to kill 2 gates and now a pylon to get out of the base.
It's a trooper. He'll make it eventually.
Eventually he'll get his 1 kill and be like, yes, I did this. I did something with my life.
There's so many of these disruptors out onto the map for, well, both players, but there's 8 on spell side. It's going to be hard to dodge all that if you can get it into range.
It will be, especially when I believe disruptors do extra damage versus shields. Yeah, they do. So, yes, Archons are good, yet at the same time, they do a little extra damage there. And this is what sucks about not having the one observer. There's the observer. That DT, like, believed in himself so much to take on the entire army. He's like, I got this, guy. He's like, no, you stay back. It's not going to be this case, though. Ender, Spellsinger's moving in, and this may be very well the final just endgame hit. Yet it's going to happen with a nice wall between them, and there's Tempests. A Mothership Core. Is there even an Observer? There is only 1 Observer with Spellsinger's army. Take that back.
2.
There's 2.
Yeah, there's 2, yeah. 2 there. He is just going to retreat. I think we've got then DTs once again going for that top base. Cannons are coming up, but they would kill them anyway.
This is a scary position as a Protoss player myself and who sucks at PvP. Oh, the Disruptor's going off.
2 for 1.
This is a scary position as a Protoss player who also sucks at PvP. Just when your opponent already has the Tempest count, how do you compensate? Realistically, it's just so hard. And now we're going to see the duel for this gold base. puCK, though, has had his own gold base for so much longer, and this is all going to come down to the Disruptor shots. That you're invisible, and you're all messed up like this, it's just going to be pure Disruptor shot. We'll see how that goes down. If Spellsinger can make it happen, he does it more than puCK. Not quite making it happen. Although if puCK does win this game, he will move on to the kind of winner's match between Ray Rain and Spellsinger. We'll still see if that's going to happen. There's dancing, and this is what we used to see like a month ago-ish in Legacy of the Void with Adepts, and now they're like, wait, Tempest still stupidly good if you're going Colossi. If he did not have Colossi, Tempest would be good, but I don't know if quite this good. We'll see how it really pans out. Colossi, for now, still literally doing 0 damage to the enemy army. Finally, they do the engagement. By the way, they do not have ETL.
That is true, yet again. Disruptors coming in from the back. Will they be able to clear what out? Once again, not even really sure who's going to win, except for that there's no anti-air really for Spell at all. So puCK losing basically his whole ground force, and
look at puCK's bank, though, that he's already replenished with.
Yeah. DT's coming in.
DT's on that 4th base will actually
get cleaned
barely not sack it.
By DTs, yeah.
Yeah, by DTs. Friendly Fireman. A little bit of cannibalism going down there. puCK, both of them have fantastic both of them have fantastic banks.
Yeah.
And just, again, with ETL, that Colossus army, yes, it's if you have Colossus, if also Spellsinger had more Colossi, more Disruptors on the ground, and he did win the ground army, but he can't push. And then again, like we were saying with ETL, that is +3 range on a 6-range unit. That is 30% increase in range. So you can reach out so much farther, and they're so much more effective for at least trying to poke at your opponent's army when you're in kind of siege modes like that. That's not going to be the case, though. Both players may pass each other. Now, this time, Spellsinger has so many Stalkers, and he actually just TPs back to the bottom left base.
And is moving in with a mixed Zealot DT force here, up at the gold.
We'll get cleaned up a nice amount of cannons and the pylons if need be for Photon overcharges. Will it actually get cleaned up? Barely does. And now both players kind of posturing for an attack, but they are fighting over a cliff. It's going to be a little bit of an awkward angle, especially when moving into these Tempests. The Archon's trying to kill that base of Spellsinger here, but right now the Tempest will just decimate the Colossi. Literally, they don't have anything to attack because it's invisible.
I do like the 7 observer response, by the way. That's Spellsinger, just in case.
He's got 9 observers now, man.
Yeah.
He is set, just in case. You got to be careful in these situations. It's almost a completely sky-tossed army with the Archons underneath. This is the most beautiful endgame army you can have as Protoss. It counters everything, and it has such a high DPS and such a high kind of assassination one-tap DPS that you can get, and you can just start picking off opponents' units. Spellsinger, army-wise, is 46 supplied to the 105 of puCK. puCK is waited out to the late game, and it may have been all very well to do.
Yeah, it just takes those Disruptors and Colossus completely out of the equation. He'd have to, what can you even build now to try and combat this? Basically nothing. I mean, the whole idea is usually you want to get underneath this army, but with just 2 or 3 Disruptors for puCK, you don't want to be underneath it either. They could just take you out.
And as I was saying also, with that, just that in PvP, if you didn't go Tempest yourself, you have to have some crazy plan or have to be some crazy way ahead to go against it. Now, maybe if Spellsinger had not gone into Colossi, maybe done a weird mass gateway army, which actually is a little bit viable, he could have done something. Yet that's not the situation. Now he's mixed in. How many Stalkers does he have? 26 Stalkers, and Stalkers will kill this, yes. That's just not where you want to put your money in the late game. He still does have 2,600 minerals for Zealots if he wants to do some just gigantic Zealot warpins. At the moment, he has 15 gates.
Yeah, one choice he could have considered a little while ago is there was a moment that they could have started to base trade each other, and with the more mobile army, Spell could have potentially done that and then tried to get back to, after trading a base or 2 off. But now it's pretty rough. Once you've already lost them, you don't really have that option.
And the Disruptors still puCK's like, yeah, cool, Disruptors, kill everything, and actually takes out a decent amount of the health. And I'd say that was a very good point. He should have gone for the base trade, but I'd argue the opposite, that the army of puCK, since it can just go over the cliffs, in some situations maybe a little bit better, even baiting into
that. Yeah. So the blink under, he's got to give this a try. He just has to.
He's focusing down the Mama Core, though.
Yeah.
Or just the Mothership, period. Not used to saying that, and yes, he almost kills the Mothership Core, but now there's just so many Tempests on top. We'll see how it really ends up. What is puCK making off the back of this? Just more Tempests. He believes in the power, and I like it with the Mothership. You just got to be so careful not to lose it. There's a teleport home just to be safe, and for now, he will be home to defend if he needs to, and this has been an awkward game. It's kind of seemed... It's just an awkward game. I can't even...
It really is very weird, and and we saw... I guess usually you do have to kill the Mothership or the Mothership Core, so the retreat isn't an option at that point. But there he could just, the moment it starts to tip away from his favor, the Tempests can all recall. And you take such a massive hit with that additional blink in that puCK can just kind of rebuild and do it again. But both of them are at oddly low economies now. Both of them basically mining at a 1 base capacity. Of course, everything mines out so quickly, this gold is basically empty.
At least in the harassing situation, I would agree with you that at the moment, Spellsinger does have the more mobile army, but it just once the Tempest gets there, they have to hightail it out of there. And this is kind of awkward because I feel totally that when I see puCK's army, I'm like, puCK's army decimates it. But he's just being so very careful. He does not want to take any chances at all.
Yeah, and here come Stalkers on this side.
Oh! The blink into Stasis Ward. puCK takes game 2.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to support the ASL by hitting the button now.